Coming up in today's video, we're talking about some huge stuff surrounding a former WWE star returning to MLW. Also, in addition to that, we have a TNA departure that's been confirmed. And speaking of TNA, WWE is slightly concerned. We're going to talk about it all right here on The Ango Show. If you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell. This way you never miss a video. We should probably talk about TNA Impact and the Nielsen ratings concern, because apparently somebody in WWE is a little bit concerned here. Now, before we get to the nitty-gritty of this, we have to understand what really is the change. Now, of course, the way Nielsen ratings are being calculated now are going to be a little bit more accurate than before, because the sample size is not that small anymore. And this is where things get a little bit more interesting, because TNA has been very vocal and transparent about trying to get a new TV deal close to about $10 million per year. And Carlos Silva has been very vocal about this TV deal, and he's already claimed that they are in talks with partners, or potential partners, I should say. Now, according to Fightful Select, a WWE production source shared concern that the most Nielsen ratings changes could end up being used against TNA during their efforts to secure a new television deal. However, Carlos Silva, who is the president for Anthem and TNA, right? He appears to say, like, this is not an issue. It has not been brought up in their talks so far. And there is a new call scheduled for the week. And despite these concerns, Carlos Silva is still relatively confident in its standing and expects to secure a strong and stable TV deal as it moves toward 2026. Now, the Nielsen ratings change is something I spoke about the other day. And obviously, it's a big deal for a variety of reasons, because it's going to impact WWE. It impacts AEW. It's going to impact every TV product. But the fact that, you know, TNA is the smaller company trying to get this TV deal, I mean, I don't see how there's a wrestling fan who does not like the idea of this. If you are a wrestling fan, truth be told, if you're a wrestling fan and you really don't want TNA to get a new TV deal, you're kind of an asshole. Because the truth is, a new TV deal for TNA really helps out the wrestling industry. And that's what you would want, man. You don't want WWE and AEW hogging all the talent. You don't want them to be the only two monsters in the game. You should want more healthy companies, because if your favorite wrestler from AEW does not get signed to WWE, they're stuck going to basically nowhere else, right? The idea that TNA could be a third big promotion is a huge thing for professional wrestling fans. And I really hope people understand the importance of TV deals, because TV deals could literally make or break a wrestling company. That turns us to our next topic. We got to keep it on tab with TNA, because a TNA departure has been confirmed. But first, if you guys didn't know, you can check out nordvpn.com/ango. Right now, there's a sweet deal. You could get 77% off NordVPN's 2-year plan. Plus, they give you 3 extra months. It breaks down to $3.09 a month. Let's just be real, guys. If you're a wrestling fan, you know, WWE has ESPN, Netflix. International WWE viewers have the ability to watch Raw, SmackDown, and NXT on Netflix. So if you know what NordVPN does, you know exactly how it can help. Just like how we know TNA can help the industry become better. Unfortunately for Laredo Kid, that isn't the case. Laredo Kid has confirmed on social media that he is leaving TNA. And this is where things get a little bit tricky. Things can get a little bit messy, because the truth is, he may not be the only one to be saying goodbye to the company. In a new statement on social media, Laredo Kid says, "Thank you for everything to this great company and family at TNA. I appreciate your tremendous support. I hope to return to work in the future. We're on a new path." Now, the last time Laredo Kid wrestled for TNA Impact was May 24th, 2025. But as you guys may have noticed, WWE started to use Laredo Kid for the AAA WWE crossovers. So that right there was obviously a big deal. Laredo Kid is another example of talent crossing over from AAA. who may have not necessarily been given an opportunity to do a lot in TNA, which is kind of the one thing I've been a little bit critical of TNA in the past, where it's like, hey, you're bringing in wrestlers, but for some reason you're not really doing much with them. You know, Laredo Kid won the digital media championship and like nothing really happened there. My point that I'm trying to make is Laredo Kid is a hell of a talent, and technically there's always a chance that he could come back to TNA, but it's very difficult to do that right now. And listen, there's Fightful had came out with a report the other day. Multiple contracts are ending around this time of the year for TNA. TNA doesn't secure a lot of people long term. It's a difficult thing for TNA to retain talent, especially when you have WWE and AEW all willing to spend some serious money. But you have to wonder if this means AAA and WWE can utilize Laredo Kid more, and then through the partnership with TNA, Laredo Kid could be there. I don't know. It gets messy. It gets weird, but he is gone from the company, and that kind of sucks because I think Laredo Kid in the X division with Leon Slater and some of these other guys could be a really big focal point. And that brings us to our final topic, ladies and gentlemen. I did not think this was going to happen, but it did happen. It's been revealed. It's been announced. Killer Kross is returning to MLW. Killer Kross, formerly known as Karrion Kross in the WWE. Remember the We Want Kross movement? I mean, I know it still exists, but it's not hijacking WWE shows anymore, that's for sure. Killer Kross has been revealed for MLW. The company had their Slaughterhouse event this past Saturday. They aired the video package. The video package is now everywhere online. Killer Kross will be at the Lucha de los Muertos event, which is a collaboration with Don Gato Tequila, and it takes place November 20th, Charleston, South Carolina. Yeah, he is going to be in action. They've confirmed that. We don't know the deal. MLW is kind of like TNA in a way. Not that many long-term contracts are signed. Obviously, it's case-by-case scenario. But we saw Dijak return to MLW. We saw Matt Riddle return to MLW. We saw Bishop Dyer, a.k.a. Baron Corbin, go to MLW. Now Killer Kross is going to MLW. Is this a huge resurgence for MLW? We know that MLW is trying to do a weekly TV show. Is this going to be the thing that helps? Because their roster is starting to look pretty sick. I'm going to keep it simple with y'all. Killer Kross going to MLW is a lot better than him going to AEW. No, this isn't me being anti-AEW, but what this is the fact that there's free agents from WWE who are not necessarily choosing the second largest company or not necessarily signing to the second largest company. For whatever reason it may be, it doesn't matter. It could be personal reason, professional reason, it doesn't matter. The fact that people are choosing to not go to AEW is actually somewhat of a good thing currently as it stands. Both companies got a lot of people on their roster. So the more that we see people show up in TNA or MLW is a good thing. I'm not even an avid fan of MLW, but the truth is, this is the kind of stuff that would get me a little bit more hooked into MLW. So good for them, good for Killer Kross. We'll see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Angle Show.